Dear learners, in previous session we have seen regarding vapor pressure and mole fraction. In this session we will see a relationship between the vapor pressure and mole fraction of liquid. The basic relationship between partial pressure and mole fraction of liquid is given by the French chemist Francois Marthe Raoult in 1986. While explaining the relationship between these two parameters, Rawls says that at definite temperature, the partial pressure of each volatile component of a solution is equal to the product of vapor pressure of pure component and its mole fraction. So by depicting partial vapor pressure as P, the vapor pressure of pure component as P naught and mole fraction as X, the mathematical expression for the statement of Raoult's law is P is equal to P naught X. Consider a binary solution. We are having a binary solution of two completely miscible components. The two components are PA and XA. So if we are having a solution which contains component A and component B and the Raoult's law is applicable to that solution, then the equation will become as PA is equal to P naught A XA. This will be valid for component A, and if we are focusing on component B, then the same equation as per Raoult's law will be PB is equal to P naught B XB, where PA and PB is the partial vapor pressure for the component A and B. P naught A and P naught B will be the vapor pressure of pure component for the same component A and B, and X will represent mole fraction of component XA for the component A and XB for the component B. But we know that we are dealing with the system. That's why the vapor pressure of each component will contribute toward the vapor pressure of system. So focusing on this one, we can say that the total vapor pressure of system is nothing but the sum of vapor pressure that has been generated by individual component. So that will give you equation 3. Now from both the equation 1 and equation 2, we can have equation 3 in a manner as we are just putting the values of PA, that is P naught A XA, and value of PB as P naught B XB. So putting these values, we will have equation 4 as P is equal to P naught A XA plus P naught B XB. Now, according to definition of mole fraction is defined as it is nothing but the ratio of number of moles of individual component to the sum of all the components. So putting this definition into mathematical expression, we will have XA is equal to Na divided by Na plus Nb, whereas XB is equal to Nb divided by Na plus Nb, where N represents number of moles whereas X represents mole fraction. We know that the mole fraction is unitless. It obviously means that the sum of both the components, mole fraction of the both the component will be equal to 1. We are just rearranging this equation and we will have the same equation as the mole fraction of component A is equal to the subtraction of mole fraction of component B from the 1. Now considering equation 7, now our job is we are just incorporating value of equation 7 into equation 4. What was the equation 4? Our equation 4 was P is equal to P naught A XA plus P naught B XB. This was our equation 4. Now we are just putting the value of equation 7 into equation 4. We will have the equation as P is equal to P naught A 1 minus XB plus P naught B XB, we are just replacing xa by the equation 4. So replacing this one, we will have the equation. Now we are just rearranging this equation. How we are rearranging this equation? We are just simplifying this one. Now simplifying this one, our mathematical expression will become by multiplying the bracket with P naught A. Furthermore, we are simplifying the equation. We are rearranging the equation. So rearranging this equation, now we are keeping positive charges to the close to one another, and we will have P is equal to P naught B XB plus P naught A, and we are subtracting P naught A XB from this equation. Now from this we will have equation 8 as P is equal to P naught B minus P naught A. We are summarizing XB, we are keeping XB as a common, and by keeping them common we will have P is equal to P naught B minus P naught A, the bracket multiplied by mole fraction of component B plus vapor pressure of component A in its pure form. This equation 8 gives total vapor pressure in terms of vapor pressure of two pure components and mole fraction of one component. Now since P naught A and P naught B, that is the partial or vapor pressure of component A and component B in their pure form are constant at definite temperature, therefore the plot of vapor pressure versus mole fraction should yield straight line with the slope P naught B minus P naught A. So the graph for the statement will look like this one, where you are plotting vapor pressure against mole fraction. Now you can observe that the dotted lines are the representatives of partial vapor pressure of individual component and total vapor pressure of your system. As like your boiling point diagram that we have discussed earlier, you will have the linearity in your vapor pressure and mole fraction. But there are some deviations from the Raoult's law. The deviation stands because of the change in adhesive forces and cohesive forces. Now here, when the cohesive attraction is greater than adhesive, so the cohesive attraction is greater than the adhesive attraction or vice versa, then it won't adhere to Raoult's law, which leads to deviation from Raoult's law. This deviation is by the two ways, either that is your positive deviation or that will seems to be a negative deviation. Now if the adhesive forces are less than cohesive forces, here you are having adhesive forces between component A and component B and the cohesive forces between both the component A. So when these adhesive forces are less than cohesive forces, then you will observe that there will be the outward curve to the initial graph. So it shows that it is not following a linearity between vapor pressure and mole fraction. So initially the linearity was there between your vapor pressure and mole fraction, but as the adhesive forces becomes less than cohesive forces, the attraction between two unlike is less than attraction between two likes, then it will give you the bending curve that is lying to the outward side from your linearity. In the same way, we will have negative deviation, and this is due to the adhesive forces are more stronger than the cohesive forces, and this stronger approach of your adhesive forces will allow your system to bend to the inside curve. So again it will not stick to the linearity and it will show you deviation, but this deviation is lying toward the center, that's why the deviation shows negative deviation. So these are the two deviations positive deviation and negative deviation. Remember, positive deviation is because of the adhesive forces which are less than cohesive forces, whereas negative deviation is due to adhesive forces are more than cohesive forces. It will give you positive deviation and negative deviation. Now, from these two deviations, it serves as the basis for classification of your solution. You are going to classify your solutions as ideal solution and real solution. The solutions which obeys Raoult's law, that is, the solutions which shows linearity between vapor pressure and mole fraction, gives you ideal solution, and the one which deviates will give you real solution. The next case, in the case of ideal solution and real solution, is the linear relationship in their physical properties. In case of ideal solution, you will observe the linear relationship in physical properties as like pure component, whereas in case of real solution, there is no linear relationship in the physical properties. Now moving toward the adhesive and cohesive forces, then you can observe that in case of ideal solution, the adhesive forces and cohesive forces are same for all the molecules, but that is not valid in case of real solution. In the case of real solution, there are differences between adhesive and cohesive forces, and remember, these differences are responsible for deviation from Raoult's law. Moving forward, in case of ideal solution, there is no change in property of individual liquid after formation of solution, whereas the individual component that makes your system, you will observe the change in property of that individual liquid after formation of solution. For example, in the sake of real solution, if you are mixing volume of component A and volume of component B, then it will give you more than 2. So there will be the change in property, either it will give you more than 2 or it will give you less than 2, means there is deviation in the property of individual liquid after formation of solution. The concept of an ideal solution is fundamental to chemical thermodynamics, means there is exchange or gain of heat is takes place, but the concept of real solution is not fundamental to chemical thermodynamics. As far as the fundamental aspect of chemical thermodynamics is concerned, in case of ideal solution, heat is neither evolved nor absorbed, whereas in the sake of real solution, heat is evolved or absorbed, and it will have impact on heat of solution. In case of ideal solution, that is close to zero, whereas in case of real solution, the heat of solution is not equal to 0. This is the basic difference between ideal solution and real solution. Apart from the linearity between vapor pressure and mole fraction, there are other factors which differentiates between ideal solution and real solution. Thank you.